I was waiting at a stoplight tonight and I started thinking about waiting for school to begin because it's coming up in about a month. And then I started thinking about waiting for graduation, which will be in less than a year. And then I started thinking about just the concept of waiting. And as I was thinking, I started to realize that so much of my life is spent waiting. I mean, waiting on stoplights, waiting in line, waiting on people, waiting for the weekend, waiting for school to begin, waiting for school to end, waiting for work to begin, waiting for work to end, waiting for retirement. And then I question, I question why I do this. And I don't think I'm the only one, because I think so many people, I've heard this all my life, talking just about simple things like waiting for the weekend. I mean, how simple is that? People do say that all the time. Waiting for retirement, people do that all the time, 5 years till retirement or whatever. And I think as humans, we are just so constantly obsessed or at least fixated on these checkpoints in our lives. I mean, and they aren't big they don't have to be big checkpoints. They can be the weekend or they can be work ending. But regardless, I think just as humans, we're just so focused on the future instead of the present. And as I was thinking about this, I started thinking about, what if we didn't have waiting? What would we do? Would we be propelled forward, or we would just be in this like static state of doing nothing because we didn't have anything to wait for? And I think ultimately what we would do is create things to wait for. And then, completely and totally depressing, but I started thinking about death. And I question, is that a checkpoint? I think it is. I think it has to be a checkpoint. Even if you're a spiritual person and think that your life continues on after death, I think that that's still definitely a checkpoint. And what about heaven? Do you wait in heaven? Is there waiting in heaven? And if there isn't waiting in heaven, then what do you do? I don't know. And then, ultimately, I came to the conclusion that I don't want to spend my life waiting. I don't want to constantly think about the future and then get to the end, the final checkpoint or a checkpoint, death, and regret waiting, spending so much time waiting instead of living. I think that would be just awful. And so, I think what I want to do now is, focus more on the present and stop waiting so much. I'll still wait at stop signs and stoplights and lines because that's, well, one, I don't want to get in an accident, and two, I respect people in line. I hate when people budge in line. But yeah, that's some deep thinking on it's Friday. That's what I do on my Friday night. I think about waiting and death. So yeah, you should comment if you have any sort of opinions regarding waiting. I'm happy and glad and looking forward to seeing them.